Rubber boots, layers of protective clothing, and plastic dispensers filled with a chlorine solution. These items have become symbols of the front line in the battle against the worst ever outbreak of the Ebola virus. It has been 10 months since the first case of Ebola was reported in Guinea. The virus quickly spread to the neighboring countries of Liberia and Sierra Leone, and the World Health Organization estimates it has killed more than 6,000 people. This is despite the combined efforts of African and Western governments, NGOs, and thousands of medical workers. So how long will it take for the deadly virus to be stopped? Peter Piot, who co-discovered the virus in 1976, explains why this outbreak has been so much deadlier than previous ones.
We're still in the middle of what is the longest and largest Ebola epidemic in history. It's actually a real humanitarian crisis. By the end of the year, we probably will have about 20,000 people with Ebola infection. And there are now 4 times as many deaths as in the total history of known Ebola outbreaks. Why did we come to that point? I think in the first place because both at the national level and in the communities and internationally, we waited far too long to react. Ebola was diagnosed in March, and it's not until August, September that real effective measures were being put in place. And on the other hand, these countries come out of decades of civil war, corrupt dictatorship, lack of trust in anything that the government says, beliefs about transmission of disease, and then also a complete collapse of the health services due to civil war and unrest.
The deadly nature of the virus, which has a fatality rate of about 60%, but that can be as high as 90% in some circumstances, eventually captured the world's attention. In November, G20 leaders called for a global effort to provide medical supplies and personnel to help tackle the spread of the virus. But still, the death toll has climbed. The International Rescue Committee is one of the charities providing education and medical equipment to the affected areas. The IRC is also the FT's seasonal appeal partner this year. David Miliband, the former UK Foreign Secretary and current president of the IRC, says Ebola is a high priority among the humanitarian crises the IRC works to alleviate.
I was in Sierra Leone and Liberia last month, and we've been in those countries, the IRC, for 15 years. We are redirecting all of our efforts now to fight this crippling disease. And the most important thing that we're doing is acting from the point of infection right through to burial. It's not enough just to do treatment centres. It needs to be a prevention-led campaign. And the good thing about the work we're doing that I've seen is that we're going from door to door, knocking on people's doors to make sure that they understand the disease, as well as treating people and making sure that there's safe disposal of the bodies, because some 70% of people are catching the disease from dead bodies. The very sad truth is that we're not going to beat the disease by treating our way out of it. We're going to beat the disease by educating our way out of it and isolating those who have got the disease.
Beyond the human disaster, the virus has also weighed heavily on the economies of Liberia, Guinea, and Sierra Leone.
We are beginning to see clearly that foreign investors are deserting the 3 countries. Beyond those 3 countries, Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone, in West Africa region and across the continent in Africa, we are beginning to see also a stigma impact, where even business conferences as far away as Cape Town are cancelled because fears about contagion. So far, the crisis is really centered on only 3 countries, although there were cases of Ebola in Nigeria and Senegal, but that has been contained. And now the World Bank thinks that actually the impact will be about $3 billion. But we have to remember that even this lower estimate is a lot of money. We are talking about 3 of the poorest countries in Africa, and $3 billion will make a huge difference for the local economies.
But there are some encouraging signs that the outbreak is being contained. The World Health Organization recently said a target of isolating and treating 70% of patients and of safely burying 70% of victims in the 3 worst-hit countries has largely been met.
That's thanks to stronger leadership from the government, people in the community also seeing that this is about their survival, literally, and also massive international aid. And let's not forget, this epidemic will only be over when the last person with Ebola has either died or has recovered without having infected anybody else. This epidemic comes from one case in Guinea. It's mind-blowing when you think of it. The challenge will be to control the epidemic in the last district, in the last county, in the last village. The good news is that experimental therapies are being tested and evaluated whether they actually work or not. And also we will see at the beginning of next year the evaluation of experimental vaccines, because I hope that this will be the last outbreak of Ebola where all we have is isolation and quarantine. We must have therapies, we must have a vaccine for the next outbreak, because it will happen.